think this is just one of those months where the grandparents are failing these children at a very, very high rate right now. And I'm bringing you guys another story that's probably going to rock you to the core with the details about how we get here. Another beautiful, innocent life. And I want y'all to look at that baby. That is such a beautiful baby. Happy mom, happy dad. Beautiful, beautiful little baby. I want to tell you about our story because I want to try to prevent these things from happening going forward. But we got to start having some real accountability. We got to start having some real conversations. Before we get too deep, let me give you guys a fair warning real quick. Here we go. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So I'm getting this story from a couple different places. And one we're going to get this from is dailymail.com. I think they do pretty good about presenting a comprehensive story. And we're also going to go to triblive.com. So Tribe, I think that's Tribe Live. So we're going to use a couple different sources here. So let's start with Daily Mail. A 7-month-old girl died of fentanyl poisoning. And let me say this. Fentanyl is like, I don't know how to describe it. We've heard a number of adults and children dying from this stuff, whether it be from accidental poisoning to drugs being laced with this stuff. But just every time I look up, there's another fentanyl death, and I hate it, especially when it comes to these children because they can't defend themselves. But a 7-month-old girl died from fentanyl poisoning in her sleep. Authorities announced Tuesday as they said they were weighing charges against her father and grandmother. Okay. Zhuri Shade Bogle, and I like that name. Zhuri is spelled Zhuri, Sade, Sade, Bogle, Bogle, was found unconscious in her bed at 6:44 a.m. in Penn Hills on January 14th of 2023. Such a beautiful baby. I remember when my daughter was that age. Y'all know I love children. Like, I'm like children's biggest fan, man. I love all kids. I just want to see them grow up and become something great. And just like, wow, I remember seeing you when you were a little baby and now you're grown up and doing amazing things. Like, I'm just one of those type of people. I just love putting out good energy out there. And I know it's a lot of other people that feel like I feel, right? According to the Allegheny County officials, we haven't talked about Allegheny County in a long time, but when first responders arrived, they found Zhuri's father performing CPR. First responders took over, but at 7:05 a.m., she was pronounced deceased at the scene. Detectives learned that Zhuri was in the care of her grandmother and grandmother's friend the prior evening. Zhuri was already put to bed when her parents arrived home on the evening of January the 13th. Grandma and grandma's friend. We're going to get to that here in a second. Detectives are now consulting with the Allegheny District Attorney's Office about whether or not to bring charges according to the release. On a GoFundMe page established to assist Zhuri's parents, Mercedes Williams and Barrington Bogle Jr., a friend, wrote, "This is a wholly unexpected and devastating occurrence that forever changed the lives of Zhuri's parents and other loved ones. To bury a loved one," well, I can skip some of this. Y'all can read it on the GoFundMe. 7 months ago, a San Francisco tech boss nearly suffered a similar fate to Zhuri's parents when one of his 10-month-old twins ingested fentanyl while out playing. Why they tell me about this story? I don't care about that story. They're giving me some statistics here. I get that. We can skip the statistics. Let's move on to tribelive.com. Let's talk about their article. Let me talk about this fool that you guys see on my screen. A man from Pittsburgh Elliott neighborhood faces charges in connection with the fentanyl poisoning death of a 7-month-old Penn Hills girl. Allegheny County Police on Friday charged David Dwayne Poindexter, who was 58 years old. Why this man looks like, I guess he looks 58. I guess he look about 60 years old. I guess that's about right. Charged him with involuntary manslaughter and reckless endangerment. Police said Poindexter, who is a boyfriend of the baby's grandmother, hashtag grandma's boyfriend. Grandma's boyfriend. Let me be careful when I say this, but let me say this. It is possible that grandma could have been married. Her husband might have passed away from natural causes, and grandma might have been lonely. It's very possible. But here's what I know about the black community, and I know some people are not going to understand this, but it's a statistic that you guys can look up. But there is a statistic that a lot of our sisters in the black community will never see marriage. Is it possible with this woman being old school that she might have been married? I think it's a possibility, but I think this statistic has been around a long time, and especially knowing the fact that women outnumber men, I can deduce and say that maybe this grandma never had a husband, maybe never been married. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying statistically, it's possible that grandma could have truly had her new man, a new boyfriend, a new boo thing, a new bed lover, a new man to creep with in the sheets. Right? I'm not so sure how well she knew this fool or if she even gave a damn, but I just think that when you get to a certain age, I just think you just start to get desperate. Is that wrong of me to say? I think you see your mortality in your face. There's a reason I'm saying all of this. You see your mortality in your face, and you're just like, look, man, I wants to have me some fun. I get it. I get it. When you're single and don't have kids, do what you do. I don't care about that. Here's the difference. When you have a baby, when you have a child, when you have a defenseless, innocent soul in your possession, now who you're fucking matters. Now who you have that child around matters. And you cannot, for any reason, have this child around somebody who will put this child's life in danger. Let me give you the details, and let me tell you why this man who looks like he was on the movie Life or whatever. I don't know what movie he looked like he came out of. Like he came out of some movie. I don't know. Let me tell you why that he is a bad person. The child, Zuri, died of an acute fentanyl toxicity poisoning on January 14th in her home, according to the Allegheny Medical Examiner's Office. Penn Hills police and paramedics responded to the 8100 block of Chaskey Street around 6:45 a.m. the day after the infant was reported to be unresponsive. Upon arrival, first responders found Zuri's father performing CPR. First responders took over at 7:05 a.m. and the child was pronounced dead at the scene. Police said Zuri had been in the care of grandmother Barbara Dunlap. I'm surprised they put her whole name out there, but rightfully so. And Poindexter the prior night. The baby had already been put to bed when the parents arrived home on the evening of January 13th. During Zuri's autopsy, a small square packet, which appeared to be in a glassine baggie. I don't know if y'all know what that is, like those little crack bag looking baggies. A small square packet which appeared to be a glassine baggie with the word machine, MACHINE, printed on the front, was recovered from the baby's throat. You gonna eat your cornbread looking ass. Thank you, that's beauty. Right. Let me go back. Look at him. Go eat your cornbread looking ass. They found a baggie, a drug baggie in her throat. The baggie tested positive for fentanyl. Now, how does that involve Grandma's boyfriend? Poindexter, Grandma's boyfriend, told investigators that on the day that he watched jury with Dunlap, the grandma, he worked a moving job to earn himself $250. Now, that sounds like a reputable thing to do, right? You earn your money honestly, but here's why he was earning the money. I want y'all to catch this. He worked that job to earn $250 so he could go buy him some heroin that contained fentanyl. I know these stories sound like make-believe, but this is the damn truth. Let me say that again. This man at 58 years old didn't go work a job, a moving job, to go pay bills, to keep his cell phone on, to maybe pay an electric bill, the light bill, or whatever you want to call it. Back in the day, they used to call it the light bill. You're running up my light bill, right? Not to keep the internet on. Who was Grandma having sex with? Grandma was having sex with a man who was a drug addict, apparently, from what they're saying, that he worked this job and worked his behind off to go buy some heroin that just so happened to be laced with fentanyl. Ain't that a bitch? I don't care that Grandma was having sex with a crackhead, essentially. But Grandma, at the point that you decided to be a babysitter, now you got to kick your crack. Like there are remnants, there are issues that when it comes to dating somebody who is either a drug dealer or has some level of association with drugs. Because guess what? They're going to hide it. They shouldn't have it. They know that you might be mad at them if they find it. So what do they tend to do? They tend to hide it and stash it. I don't know if he hid it or stashed it in this case or not. But there's a high probability if that person is doing those type of drugs, they're probably holding some of those drugs inside your house, which not only puts your safety in danger, you could get arrested if somebody ever finds out about that, if it's in your house, in your possession. Or if you have a little child over like this, if they happen to come across it. And in this case, it cost this angel her life. The baggie tested positive for fentanyl. Poindexter admitted that he snorted one of the bags before going to the house to meet Dunlap and discarded the bag out of the window. The rest of the bags were together in a plastic bag in his pocket. Poindexter said Dunlap also used the heroin, the complaint said. So Grandma's boyfriend, because this fool know that he going to jail, snitched on Grandma and said that she was doing heroin also. Wow. Hell of a boyfriend. Hell of a choice, Grandma. Hell of a choice. It remains unclear how the baby got one of the stamp bags. But they have information here. If anybody has information, call the Allegheny County Police tip line at 833 all tips or 255-8477. Callers can remain anonymous. The department can also be reached by way of its social media sites. Let me give you guys the fair usage. I told y'all was not going to believe that. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And look, Grandma, don't go out there and be trying to file no paperwork to try to sue me for what I said and calling you a crackhead. That man literally said that you were doing heroin too. So get mad at him. That's his words. He gave it to the news website publication or the police or whoever he gave it to and said that you was doing heroin too. Threw her right under the bus. But if you guys are watching, do me a favor and click that thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think about this wild and crazy story. It's really sad, though. Here we go.
This baby girl, just 7 months old, died of a fentanyl overdose. Now the DA will decide if anyone will face criminal charges. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Ken Rice. Back in January, police say they found the infant unresponsive at a home on Chasky Street in Penn Hills. KDK's Jennifer Barrasso is live at Allegheny County Police Headquarters with more on what we've learned. Jen.
Well, Ken, no charges have been filed. The biggest questions, how did this 7-month-old get the fentanyl, and who brought that fentanyl into the Penn Hills home?
That is so sad.
And here's what else you would also have to think about. If this man is accusing grandma of doing heroin also, then is it possible, since she was participating, that she might have also owned and used some of those baggies too that might have caused that little girl's death, which should prompt an investigation, right? I think he's going to go to jail because of what he admitted to based on his own statements. But I wouldn't rule grandma out either, though. I'm just saying.
So sad.
Tiny Zuri Bogle of Penn Hills never made it to her first birthday. The 7-month-old girl died because of a fentanyl overdose, according to the Allegheny County Medical Examiner. On January 14th, just before 7 a.m., Allegheny County Police say Penn Hills police and paramedics responded to Chasky Street for an unresponsive infant. According to police, the baby's grandmother and the grandmother's friend were taking care of the baby the night before her death. Police say the baby was sleeping when her parents came home. First responders found the baby's father doing CPR, but she didn't make it. Patrick Traynor is a supervisory special agent with the DEA.
2021. And again, that was 107,000 people died as a result of a drug poisoning or a drug overdose. That is an absolutely catastrophic number. In the case right here, unfortunately, this baby, most likely, and it's only speculation, may have ingested some fentanyl. And we don't know how that happened. But certainly a 7-month-old is not somebody we would refer to as opioid tolerant. That's somebody who would have no tolerance at all for a synthetic drug this powerful.
After Zuri's death, a GoFundMe was set up to help pay for the funeral. The organizer wrote, quote, "This was a wholly unexpected and devastating occurrence that forever changed the lives of Zuri's parents and other loved ones. 2 neighbors I talked to want accountability."
Definitely accountability for whoever was responsible in whatever way that happened.
Somebody needs to be charged. Somebody should be charged. You know, a baby cannot buy or get fentanyl and then put it in her system. That's just too many questions there.
Once again, no charges have been filed. Detectives here are consulting with the Allegheny County District Attorney's Office right now. Reporting live, Jennifer Barrasso, KDK News.
We begin this hour with an update on the death of a baby girl. The medical examiner says she died of a fentanyl overdose.
Back in January, police found the infant unresponsive at a home in Penn Hills. And KDK's Jennifer Barrasso is live there now with more. Jennifer?
That's right. The Allegheny County Police Department is investigating this case. The 2 biggest questions are how did this 7-month-old baby get this fentanyl, and who brought the fentanyl into the home? Take a look at this baby girl. The medical examiner identified her as Zuri Bogle. Allegheny County Police say on January 14th, Penn Hills Police responded to Chasky Street for an unresponsive infant. According to police, the baby's grandmother and the grandmother's friend were taking care of her. The night before her death, police say the baby was sleeping when her parents came home. First responders found the baby's father doing CPR, but the baby didn't make it. Earlier, I talked to a special agent with the DEA.
2021. And again, that was 107,000 people died as a result of a drug poisoning or a drug overdose.
On the morning of January 14th, Penn Hills police were called to a home on Chaskey Street for an unresponsive infant. According to police, the baby was in the care of her grandmother and grandmother's friend the night before her death and was already asleep when her parents arrived home. When first responders got there, they found Bogle's father performing CPR. First responders took over, but the baby was pronounced dead at the scene right after 7 in the morning. We talked with the executive director of A Child's Place, Pennsylvania. Dr. Mary Carrasco is also the chair of the Allegheny County Child Fatality Near Fatality Review Team. She said whether it's illegal drugs or prescription drugs, children are curious and every family should have a lockbox at home where the drugs can be stored.
Yeah, but this ain't no regular drugs, man. This is illicit drugs. So what they're talking about is something completely different. So I'll go ahead and skip that particular video. And again, I think grandma should consider this. And matter of fact, here's what I believe. I believe grandma should be investigated and should be treated as a person that possibly could have done this to this baby also, could have had some type of participation, some type of knowledge. So I think that they both are complicit in that. I honestly don't believe that grandma didn't know that this man had a drug problem, a heroin problem, or whatever it is. She had to have known this. Grandma's friend, quote unquote. But I think she should be investigated. But I don't really know what to say, man. It's just a really sad thing that we continue to keep putting our children in danger around people that we don't know. And if you do know, then you've made a bad choice to bring children around this type of people. So I will say this to the family. It's very sad. They've put up a GoFundMe. They've already reached their goal for the GoFundMe. But to that little girl, that was the victim. That was the victim in this story. But I hope that man gets a life sentence. I hope they do investigate grandma and find out if she had something to do with this also. Put her away also. But that is such a beautiful angel. Zuri, young princess, R.I.P. But let me know what you guys think about this story. If you have a difference of opinion, please let me know. That's what it's here for, okay? Thank you.